I've been in China for 4 years doing my master's. I did electrical engineering from Beijing, Hubei and Leadership or North China Electric Power University.
For quite some time, I went there twice. First I went in 2002 and left in 2008. Then I went back in 2011 for 1 year. So in the total, I was there for 7 years.
Yes, I've been in China in summer of 2019. I was there from September to December, 3 months. And I traveled to different parts of China, yes.
So I was in China in total for more than 15 years. So I did universities in China, but after university, I also worked in Beijing for more than 8 years.
I started my university in China and completed my university degree, medicine. So the first time I went there was 2002 and 2008. I was enrolled at the Tianjin Medical University, where I had my Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery.
I'd gone to Peking University. There was a program known as Dongfang Scholarship. We met there with other people from different countries of the world. And basically, we were learning on the governance of China. Yes.
China and Communist Party of China. I know China, of course, because I've been there for 4 years. I had friends, Chinese people. I had my colleagues from school, so I visited different places in China, different cities during holidays in Beijing, and I know at least something about China and I know the development. What I know about the Communist Party of China is that it's the leading party of the country that is helping a lot for the development of the country.
Well, having lived in China, you must know the Communist Party, because it's like knowing the father in your house.
Well, I know since the founding of China, I think the Communist Party of China is the one that has been in charge of the country. It's the ruling party. It's the majority party that has been in power, and I know that CPC has done a lot of things in the development of the country, from where the country was by then up to where it is today. It's a tremendous achievement of the Communist Party of China, that's what I can say.
Well, I know China very well, at least as much as I can know, me not being Chinese. I speak Chinese. I did my university studies in Chinese, and I'm passionate about the country. I've always loved China, and I know about the Communist Party as the ruling party of China, and the party that created New China.
Yes, China is the most populated country in the world, and the living standard of Chinese, I may say, is average. It's good because, you know, catering for the population of big number like that, it's not something easy, but the government of China is doing whatever they can so that people well-being is good. So, you know, China has developed all small-scale infrastructures for all the population of China, not only small scale, but even high-level infrastructures, starting from schools, starting from health centers, health facilities, transportations, and everything. So I may say that the living standard of Chinese is good because, you know, every Chinese can get at least something to eat. He can access to education, he can access to health facilities.
Before going to China, I had minimal knowledge about China, but the very moment we landed in Beijing, I found a country very impressive at all levels. Like the people, as you said, the infrastructure and the living style, the culture. It was a very intense experience for us, which was unexpected, if I might say so. And also you see people that we are unified. you see the power in the people?
Well, the living standard of the Chinese people, probably I can say that it's one of the, all people have good living standards, you know. You see, when I reached there, at first I thought I was rating China as a developing country, just like some of the African developing countries. But to my amazement, when I reached there, at least I could see that this is a different level of development. At least I was rating it with developed countries. And wherever we passed, we saw that the people have good living standards. First of all, the kind of houses they live in, the level of education, health, how they get medical services. I think they are living good. Even the infrastructure, there's a very well developed infrastructure, roads, high-speed trains, you know, and all this shows that people in China have attained the best or good living standard, although I know they are striving to achieve the best.
So I was lucky enough to witness the rise of China. I was there from about 2001 to 2015, and I saw China go from developing to a fully developed country, at least in the region around Beijing or in the east of China where I was. But I've also visited the countryside and the western part, which is still under development. So I know that China overall is a developing country, but its living standard for its people has grown tremendously in the period where I was there.
As I said before, the Chinese government is involved in the well-being of Chinese people so much. You know, when you want your people to live decently, you have to make whatever you can so that they can access all necessary facilities. When I say facilities, it means all necessary living facilities. For example, if you are sick, you need to access to the health services. If you want to study, you need to have access to education. If you want to go from place to another one, you need to have access to transportation infrastructure. And so the government of China did a lot in this area because, as I said, the Chinese, they have access to education, they have access to health facilities, they have access to the transportation sector or transportation infrastructure is well developed in China.
China as a country, it's people-centered. It's like the people are at the forefront. Like they participate in the daily life of the country, the construction of the Communist Party from the family up to the high leadership level. It's something that is very impressive and it's outstanding. You see it upon arrival. And once you put people first, of course, you ask yourself, how can you keep the people happy? It's a simple question that we ask ourselves, how do I keep my people very happy? But also it's an opportunity because you have opened up a conversation with the people and they are able to tell you what is their day-to-day life, be it the education of their children, the health care for the families and the economy, the businesses. And from those interactions, you get to strategize and come up with what you set as a national strategy. So being in that conversation, obviously, the people will be moving forward towards development.
Well, the well-being of the Chinese people, what I can say is that I found out that China puts forward the improving the living standards, or what would I say? It's a people-centered governance. What I could say that CPC has put forward people-centered governance to the extent that whatever they do it in the interest of the people. So with that, you find that actually, even if you say that it is the most populated country in the world, yes, it is, but you find that it is a society that is, what I would say, at ease with itself. People look satisfied, with what they get. So with all this, you could see that people really they have confidence in their government to provide for them the basic needs they want and even achieve more. So you see that I used to travel by metro, and sometimes you would find places which are crowded with thousands of people. And then you ask yourselves, how do such people not, how do they feel satisfied with all the services they need from the government? And they don't riot or do whatever. But then, yeah, it shows that there's a high level of satisfaction of the people and they have confidence in their government.
I think the Chinese government is crucial to the improvement of well-being of Chinese people. There's never been a country which has managed to develop without good administration, and history shows us that the Chinese government has been a very good administrator of the Chinese state and the people.
Chinese education system is good. Maybe not for everyone, because most of the Chinese classic universities, they mainly teach in Chinese. Of course, they have also programs in English, but that is probably the politics for China to cater for their own population, because the development you want at the end is for your own country. So if, for example, if it's possible that in Rwanda we teach all our kids in Kinyarwanda, I think they will be able to understand better than teaching them in a foreign language. So Chinese education system is good because, even when you look at numbers, there are many foreigners that are going to study in China that are learning, they are getting knowledge and skills from China, starting from me or from Rwandans, but not only Rwandans, even Asians, Americans, Europeans, they are going there. And the education system is well developed because from the nursery schools, primary, secondary, universities, even graduates and postgraduates, the Chinese education system is well constructed. And you will find that all schools, technical schools, they have laboratories, they have all necessary infrastructures so that Chinese can get access to or can understand very well what they are learning. So in general, I will say the education system of China is well developed.
They have very big universities which are very well renowned. You can mention Tsinghua and other universities, and it's built around a very strong clinical care in all domains, including the new diseases like cancer therapy, and also you see a blend between the modern medicine and a very well developed traditional Chinese medicine. There is a strong education system around. Their hospitals are all teaching and academic hospitals, which means there is possibilities to have research on site, and from that you build your system. So it's a very strong medical system that they have in China.
Yeah, so my industry is fintech, which is finance plus technology, and I entered this industry because of my experience with the Chinese payment services, especially Alipay from Alibaba, and I was lucky enough to go to have some courses with the Alibaba University and learn about how China developed I think the most advanced payment system in Alipay and WeChat Pay. So in the industry of fintech, China really remains at the forefront, I think the most advanced. And in Africa, we also have our own mobile money payment, which has been a pioneer, but it's a bit different. And now the Chinese are also developing the e-Chinese yuan or the electronic Chinese yuan, which would be a game changer in our industry. So in fintech, I can say that China is